Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, your host of the RNG radio show. I'm proud and I'm honored and pleased to bring with me here today on the RNG radio show, the one, the only Sheryl Williams. You may have known her as being the author of Bend But Don't Break. In addition, she is the founder of Gamma Phi Woman Christian Sorority, Inc. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, snap to your fingers, do even a little shimmy if you like to. Sheryl Williams, please introduce her or allow her to come on to the RNG radio show. Sheryl, how are you doing today?
Awesome. I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. So I want to hop right into it, Sheryl. I'm hearing Christian sorority. I'm hearing, the book, Bend But Don't Break. So I want to start with the first thing, the inspiration behind Bend But Don't Break. You hear a lot of people say I chose to write this book for various reasons. I definitely did my homework, as folks at home should as well. But can you let the folks know out here, what was your inspiration behind the book?
Well, what inspired me was after the loss of my mom and my husband. I was, just going through so much, and things was coming to my mind, thoughts were coming to my mind, and I was just writing things down on paper, on, whatever I could write on, I just began to write. And one day I was making a post on my page on Facebook pertaining to, everything that I had been going through, things that had been, and at the end of each sentence, I would put right. And when I thought of bending, it related to me bending down on my knees in prayer, talking to God about my troubles, but at the same time, while I was bending, I didn't allow whatever was happening, I didn't allow it to break me. And then while, I was thinking about that, I had a vision of a palm tree. You know how a palm tree looks in a storm and
Yes.
it waves to the left, to the right, and
Yes.
sometimes it goes all the way down to the ground. And that palm tree, it swirls, it does everything, but it does not break. And I thought about that, and I thought about myself being in a storm, just like that palm tree. And I was, just bending, but I didn't break. I'm not going to break. I'm not going to let this break me. Because when you think about a palm tree, it's rooted down in the ground. The roots goes very deep. And I thought about my connection and my relationship with the Lord. And I said, I'm rooted in God. So, I can get through this. So, I can bend without breaking. That's where it came from.
Okay, I love that. I love that. No. Thank you so much for sharing that. And when people lose somebody, for whatever it may be, you know, and they feel that inside them as far as like, not sure what to do. And I mean, that's an inspiration right there. The message alone, just, that you kept writing, no matter what it was like, hey, I wrote a little bit here, wrote a little bit there, just to get it out. You still have those who are grieving, maybe from somebody from years ago, those who still feel that pain. But your encouragement, to move forward and, comparing it to a palm tree, because there's been some storms, that we've seen, especially down in Florida and even up here in the Philadelphia area. So hearing that, being that palm tree means a lot. Now, what message, and this is something that I may need for the future as well, what message do you have for those who have suffered a loss?
Well, the message that I have for different people, this not just for women, for men and women. I would tell anyone that the most important thing to do is to trust God. Amen. And to talk to Him daily. Tell Him exactly how you feel, because that's what I did. Every morning I would get up, I sat on the side of my bed, tears streaming down my face. God, I trust you, because, all I felt was pain. I couldn't think of different things to say. Only thing I could say was Jesus. And a lot of times, I could not muscle up a prayer you know, and I would just say Jesus. And I remember in my teaching during, you know, ministry and my Christian life, you know, that there's power in the name of Jesus. And a lot of times I couldn't say nothing but Jesus. And after I said his name, you know, I began to somewhat, you know, feel a little better. But on a daily basis, even throughout the day, I just say, God, I trust you. You know, God, I trust you. With the tears coming down my face and with my back up against the wall, not knowing which way to turn. And, you know, I couldn't talk to anyone else because they didn't understand me. They didn't understand my pain. They
Sure.
didn't understand my frustrations. And a lot of times, you know, people would call, and I appreciate them calling and, you know, out of courtesy or what have you. But a lot of times when they call and they would say things and it was just crazy. It was just off the wall. And even though I'm in ministry myself, this time in my life, I did not want to be preached to. I just needed for someone to listen to me. I needed someone to try to understand me. And I didn't get that. You know, this was not a time I needed for someone to come and just quote scriptures to me and, you know, things of that nature. I, I just wasn't, you know, that just wasn't a time for me, you know, at that time.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And you know, I know that you have lost a personal loss. I know you had mentioned earlier. How long has it been since you suffered the loss of your mother and your husband?
Well, today makes a year for my husband,
Oh wow.
and August made a year for my mom.
Okay. Wow. And that's wow. So we already gone through a pandemic, and then it's like that on top of it. So, oh man. Well, I'm keeping you in prayer all the way through. And I know that grieving is separate for everybody. You know, some people have it hit them, you know, 15, 20 years later. I lost my grandmother maybe about in 2014. And I had my moments, you know, I had my moments where
Mhm.
it comes to me where it's like, oh man, I wish I could tell her this. But I keep myself busy. Somebody who recent as far as you, I mean, we're talking a year ago, you know, 2 years, you weren't having this grief, but we're talking a year ago, and even to this current time, this grief, especially going on the anniversary of it. How have you kept focus on like other projects, which we're going to get into in a minute about Gamify Woman and all, but how have you kept that focus, being able to, you know, get your mind off that and into other things?
Well, at first it was very hard. I went through depression, and you know, I stayed to myself, stayed in my room, kept the door closed, kept the curtains closed, and you know, I just, you know, didn't want to be bothered. It's like I just tried to shut myself off from the world.
Hmm.
But then I started to get sick and dealing with high blood pressure, hair coming out, losing weight, and you know, circles around my eyes and eyes puffy, and all of those things. You know, those things came to hurt me and to harm me and to bring me down. And one day I was, you know, was thinking about my husband, because my husband, he was my world. My world revolved around my husband. My husband and I, he was not just my husband, he was my best friend, he was my lover, he was my covering. My husband and I did everything together. We even went to the mailbox holding hands, checking the mail together. If we were working in the yard, he would be weed eating and edging, and I would be cutting with the mower. But we, you know, we did a lot together, and a lot of the other couples looked up to us. Married couples looked up to us, and he was a minister as well, and we did a lot of weddings. He married a lot of people, but I, you know, after taking a look at myself in the mirror,
Hmm.
and I didn't like what I saw, and trying to take the depression medication, I didn't like how it made me feel. And one day I just held the pills up, you know, towards heaven, and I say, "Well, God, they say that these pills will make me feel better. I said, but God, I know if these pills can make me feel better, you can make me feel even better. So long story short, I didn't take the pills. I just started relying on God. I pushed myself to start reading scriptures, and I was just pushing through my pain. And I started helping other people. I started to encourage other women. I started to speak to the hearts of other women that had lost their husbands as well. And I did not know so many women were going through the same thing that I had been going through. So in the group, it started out as God's Phenomenal Woman. And there were several women following me in that particular group. And I just, made sure every day on a daily basis, I talked to them, ministered to them. And the more I ministered to them, I ministered to myself, and
Okay.
my relationship with my husband was totally different than my relationship with my mom. That's two different types of pain, because
Yeah.
the relationship I had with my husband, it was a intimate thing. And with my mom, it was a motherly thing. So it was two different types of pain, that I was experiencing there. And I was able and still helping other women, to get through the loss of, a loved one because of that.
Okay. Okay. No, no, no. I completely understand. Now, you talked about a group as far as that you're ministering to. Is this the Gamma Phi Woman, or is that something separate?
Well, it's all the same, because it was first called. I started out in 2008, God's Phenomenal Woman, and I was just going to different churches, in state and out of state, holding women conferences. But then, um, out of what I was recently went through, God, He just changed the name. He put God in front of it. At the time, I didn't know why. But during this time, both my loved ones were still living. But anyway, it became God's Phenomenal Woman. And it's to where, I encourage the hearts of many women in the group, dealing with my hurt, being left alone during my loss. And I was able to, just minister to the needs of the other women. And He gave me the name Gamma Phi Woman. So that's the Greek version of God's Phenomenal Woman. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how I came up with
Okay.
it.
Now, how can folks find more information about that? Is there a website that folks can go to, or contact information? Because I myself, I am part of a fraternity, and I'm always hearing the same thing over and over again. It's not so much what the fraternity can do for you, but what you can do for the fraternity. And with Gamma Phi Woman, it seems like it's more, building women up. I mean, it says it in the title itself. Gamma Phi Woman means that and that alone, God's Phenomenal Woman. But how can folks, or I should say Black women, or women in general with a Christian background, how can they get involved or learn more about Gamma Phi Woman?
Well, they can email me at
Okay.
gphwoman@gmail.com. And it's for women of all race, shapes, and sizes. It's not just for one person in particular. And it's not about women doing something for our organization. The women in this organization is going to be doing something for other women and surrounding community.
Okay. Okay. And now I know you had mentioned doing conferences. What are some things that Gamma Phi Woman has set up for maybe like in the near future, or even by this time next year?
Well, the first thing that I want to do to kick the year off, we're going to have a paint, sip, and release conference.
Okay. And say
And
the name of that conference one more time for me.
paint, sip, and release.
Okay. You said sip, right?
Yep, sip.
Okay. All right. I just want to make, I heard silk. I was like, nah, nah, nah. I don't think they're going to be playing silk, but paint, sip, and release conference. I like that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me some more information about that, or how folks can learn more, or do they just need to email you?
Yeah, they can just email me. And what I want to say, add to that is that Gamify Woman is not a place where we're in the limelight or a certain woman is in the limelight.
Mhm.
Jesus is the limelight. We center
Yeah.
everything around Jesus. There's room for everyone. There's no room for compete with one another. So it's no room for that. We're in this together for kingdom building. And excuse me, and to help any sister out. Again, it does not matter what your skin color is. We're here for everybody.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Now, Trish Williams, as you already know, we became instant family. I swear it was just that Ovaltine package. You know, you just rip it open. I think either I was the milk, she was the Ovaltine, or I was the Ovaltine, she was the milk. But once we shook that up, it was like, oh, this is family. Okay, okay. So, with her and Irie Sky, that she runs. How did the process go with Trish?
Well, Trish, she's a very sweet person. She's a sweetheart. We connected the first time we spoke over the phone. And I actually contacted her because was going to write another book, and it was titled Marriage, Can You Handle It? And so much started to happen with my mom getting sick first, and then my husband took sick. I just put it out the window. But then after everything happened, I, talked to Trish again. I think she called to check on me, and I just told her everything that was going on, and I told her forget the book. I wasn't going to do anything. And she said, no, 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 no. You have at least 5 books in you. I'm like, what? What
I
is this
love
woman
that.
talking about? But she pretty much pushed me and, and encouraged me to go ahead and do what I needed to do. So, once I started writing and sending everything to her, and she helped me, to bring it together. She's a very good editor, and I would recommend her to anyone. She's a sweetheart.
Love that, love that. And then if folks are interested, I had the honor of having her on the show, so I will have that link below in the comments. But you first need to get this book, Bend But Don't Break. And even more importantly, where can folks actually purchase this book? Because I'm pretty sure there's women and men out there that could bend. I just received it. I personally received it, just with the palm tree analogy, bending but not breaking, and being that palm tree, no matter the storm, no matter the wind, you may be bending all the way down, but your roots are planted. And once, the sun comes out and peace is back on earth, you're standing up straight and tall, and people are just looking at you with beauty. But for the book, where can folks purchase it?
The same email,
Mhm.
gphwoman@gmail.com, and it's also on Amazon.
Beautiful, beautiful. And folks at home, I know you're listening. We'll have that link below, so be sure to click on that. And then, you had mentioned in regards to the conference coming up. You mentioned in regards to, the sorority growing. You mentioned in regards to the book. Now, per Trish, our mutual cousin, you got 5 books in you, and this is just one. What can we expect from you, like in the next year?
Well, I'm actually working on a journal for being but
Okay.
don't break. Yes, I'm working on a journal for it now.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. And then I know we spoke a lot in regards to, Bennett, but not breaking. Definitely received some ministry on that, even especially with the pills. A lot of people rely upon, what CVS and what Rite Aid gives us, to get better. But sometimes you just got to rely upon Jesus. For those that might not be, within their family, because my audience is very, very diverse, and I respect that and love that, actually. But what principle or belief do you follow by, that you live by, that keeps you motivated on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I have to be honest and say it's my connection with the Lord.
Amen. Amen.
I seek him for myself. I don't go by what other people tell me.
Hmm.
I pray and I talk to God for myself, and I get an understanding of his word, because a lot of people, they don't rightly divide his word. So it's all in about having your own relationship with God and allowing him to speak to you and to lead you.
Hmm. I got that. Okay. So that was just meant for me. I don't know if y'all got that, but I got that. I got that. So thank you for that for myself. If anybody else wants to utilize that, they can, but no, just kidding. But well, I mean, above all, Sheryl, it's been an honor, a love for the fact that you came on the show. Really appreciate having you here. I'm hoping folks get the opportunity. They go out, they search you, they get that book, and definitely get in touch with you. And just to confirm, that is gphwoman@gmail.com, correct?
Correct.
All right, awesome. Well, Sheryl, thank you again for being on the show. Definitely looking forward to having you back. I actually need to call our mutual cousin, Trish, to have her back on the show as well. So thank you again, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you for having me.